Context of White Supremacy, Gus T Renegade and Justice in for another edition of the C.O.W.S radio program. Hopefully we will share constructive information on racism, white supremacy, and how to replace it with a system of justice immediately. The past two programs, both yesterday when we talked about the late Tupac Shakur with Mr. John Patash, excellent program. If you didn't hear it, please check the archives. Really getting an opportunity to show what I was doing before I was focused on racism. I was DJing, that was one, and I was studying COINTELPRO. These two programs, you'll probably get to hear the information I picked up while I was using my time and energy both in music, hip-hop specifically, and studying the COINTELPRO programs. It's kind of wild for me to have today's guest on the program. As I said, I DJ'd hip-hop along with NBA basketball. That was my heroine not too long ago. I owned the Third Base, the Cactus album, actually bought it multiple times. In addition to that, as I said, I was a DJ, so today's guest, I didn't just have Third Base's material. I had Boulevard Connection. I had No Doubt on vinyl. This man was a big fan. In addition, also Bamboozled, probably one of my favorite films of all time. Our guest for today's program has huge fingerprints all over hip-hop. Anybody that's familiar, you will know Third Base. Pretty important album. Lots of hits, lots of videos that came out from that, in particular Gas Face, Step Into the AM. If you continue to follow, guest for today's program, executive producer for Nas's debut album, Illmatic, executive producer. He was also in, as I said, Bamboozled. He was a member of the Mau Mau's. He was also VH1's reality show, The White Rapper Show. Long legacy in hip-hop. Real treat to have him on today's program. Our guest today, Mr. MC Serch. Serch, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you. Thank you for the lengthy 7-minute introduction. Do we have time for the show now?
I think we will have time, sir. I appreciate you. Excuse me?
No, thanks for the love.
I appreciate it. Could you share any helpful information about who you are for our listeners if they haven't heard your music before or seen you on television, just about who you are, please, sir?
Yeah, I think you nailed it all. I started in hip-hop on the recording side back in 1985. First record I put out was a record called Melissa. Started an independent label in '86 called Idlers. Put out some other music. Also was the first label to put out the Jungle Brothers, and started my entrepreneurial kind of vibe there. Formed Third Base with my partners Pete Nice and Daddy Rich, and then went on, like you said, to form Serchlite Music. Executive produced Nas's albums Illmatic and It Was Written. Helped form the underground group Nonfiction and get them their first deal. I definitely have been doing a lot on the music side, a lot of brand integration and marketing, doing a lot on that side for a long time, building brands like Echo Unlimited, working with the Nike reissue program to get that up and running. It's a whole bunch of stuff, man. Just a whole bunch of good stuff, man. A whole bunch of good stuff.
For sure. As I said, it was a treat. The person who suggested having you on the program, he saw the more recent video that you directed, I Can Do Whatever, I'm White. And when he suggested it and told me about it, and I was like, wait a minute, Serch, he's done quite a bit of stuff in addition to directing that video. This program, the C.O.W.S, Context of White Supremacy, we focus on racism and trying to get constructive information to help replace white supremacy with justice immediately. The definition that I have for racism is a global system of people who classify themselves as white and are dedicated to abusing and or subjugating everyone in the known universe whom they classify as non-white. Do you believe such a system exists, and do you think that definition is accurate?
Wow. Probably 20 years ago, when I was in third base, I would have agreed with that. I think as I've kind of grown up and as I've kind of witnessed the evolution of the world, I think it's 90% true. I think that any time you get into labeling an entire mass of people, even those who have power, I think you're doing a disservice to those who are in the system, within the system, fighting the good fight and fighting the important fight. But I think that is 90% correct.
Okay. I want to make sure I'm being. I forgot. Bad host. You are a white male. Is that correct?
Last time I checked.
Okay. Want to be clear. I am not saying in my definition that every white person is a racist, or even that every white person.
Oh no, I didn't, and I didn't take it that way. But
okay.
I think certainly you can. I think that you can definitely get caught up, though, in saying, well, white people certainly have had power in government in making decisions. And that can kind of lead to that. I think, there is definitely, certainly in the last 200 days, been some color added to the mix, at least on this side. But then you have brown people that are basically taking power in their own hands and killing their own overseas, in the Middle East and in Africa, in Spain, where brown people are killing brown people. So entitlement doesn't necessarily fall to a color, but certainly it's easy to say that white people, certainly in America over the last 450 years, have definitely created a lot of ill in society that we have to deal with, and the residue of that is stuff we have to deal with.
Okay, I want to get my co-host to ask some questions before I do. This is important because this kind of will affect how we go in terms of questioning, and so we can think about things as we progress in the interview. Again, I understand that non-white people worldwide mistreat other non-white people. We don't even have to look at other areas of the world. We can start right here and see non-white people mistreating other non-white people all over the place every day. I do not think that means we are not in a system where all of the non-white people are subject to the power of the white people who run the system of white supremacy. At the end of the day, white people worldwide dominate non-white people. Do you think that's not true or not true?
Again, you're painting a giant scope, so let me ask you specific questions. Do you think that there are white supremacists controlling North Korea?
If you could answer my question first, then I'll get yours.
Okay. Then my answer is, because you're making it wide and global, I would say no. I would say that there are very strong, very militant, very powerful powers globally that are not affected in any way, shape, or form by white people.
Okay. Can you repeat your question, because I want to make sure I answer it, and then I'm going to get my co-host.
Yeah, my question was, do you think there are white supremacists that control North Korea?
Yes, emphatically. I believe there is no spot on this planet or any other planet, to my knowledge, that the white people who run the system of white supremacy do not dominate. Everybody is subject to what they think should be happening on the planet, and if you do not do what they think should be happening, you will have to answer to them. North Korea, South Korea, anywhere else on the globe, I am unaware of any area that it does not come under the white supremacist thumb.
I think that's very interesting. I just see the power that North Korea has, not only in the economy but in controlling arms, and how they dictate in their own country and how they dictate exportation around the country, around the other parts of the world, and I don't see the connection. So, I mean, I'd love for you to enlighten me on that because, you know, I'm always willing to learn and learn something new. I just think that there are a large minority, the Asian minority, that is very much in control of their own destiny, that have become the largest importers in the world, including heroin and guns, and also are the largest importer of products and domestic products used by the United States. And we are in debt to them by a total of $150 billion that they have asked for first payment on by, you know, first quarter of next year. So I don't know exactly if white supremacy is tackling the issue that we're having with North Korea or China. But again, if you can enlighten me on that, that's great. I think that there certainly, you know, if you go back to West Germany, if you go back to the early Russian periods of time, the Cold War, I would definitely agree with you. I would definitely say that, yes, there is a global white supremacist mentality. But if you look at France, which is run now by the Muslim community, Parliament in England is predominantly run by the Muslim community. In fact, the Muslim economy in London makes up for almost 35% of not only gross national product, but also makes up for a big chunk of what is being said and what is being controlled in government over there. Not to mention, you know, the Middle East. And I do not think white supremacy has anything to do with the sheiks in the Middle East. I do not think white supremacy has anything to do with the export of trade, you know, with North Korea. I just think that if you want to localize it and say we have an issue still in America with white supremacy, or an issue, trying to think where else with white supremacy, then I would emphatically agree with you. I just think the world has changed drastically, and I think that people that are in power currently, A, aren't necessarily white, and B, don't have the same agenda, the same white agenda. And I think the white agenda has been, without being cute, has been bleached a little bit and diluted because the white power structure has been diluted.
Very interesting. One of the folk, we have a chat room along with the broadcast here, and one of the people in the chat room said, is that the first white person that's ever been on the cows who has not agreed that there's a system of white supremacy? No, it is not. The first white person to ever disagree with my definition or that we're in a system of white supremacy was Dr. Wait a minute. Actually, I am incorrect. The person in the chat room is right. You are the first white person who ever said no system of white supremacy. So this has become a very important program. We have had white people from all over the world on this show, and most of them have had doctors and are professors at major universities across the world. No white person has ever come on this program and said, we do not have a global system of white supremacy, and only you all would now be the third white person to say my definition is inaccurate. So everyone listen closely. This has become a very interesting program. My co-host, Justice, she is a non-white female. She is all of 10 years old, but she believes we're in a system of racism, white supremacy, and she is trying to learn so we can get to justice as quick as possible. Justice, if you have some questions you would like to ask, go right ahead.
Okay, and before I ask any questions, I would like everybody on the call to speak at a vocabulary level that I can understand.
Fair enough.
And my question, and my question is, how does your music help non-white people?
Could you repeat that, Justice, one more time?
How does your music help non-white people?
Well, I have not made music in a very long time. But when I did make music, way before you were born, my music definitely pointed out the ills that white people were and how they were affecting non-white communities. And I made it very clear that as a white person, I didn't agree with the policies that white people were using against non-white people. And I really made it my business to take a stand for non-whites and say that all the injustice that was going on needs to be talked about, needs to be looked at, and it needs to be broken down in a way that we can all discuss it peacefully, in a nonviolent way, in a non-threatening way, and that we could all, if we agree, that's fine. If we agree to disagree, that's fine. But let's get to the raw fact of the matter.
Okay. And does your music confuse non-white people? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. If so, how?
I think it's very unusual for non-white people to hear a white person say that white people are evil. And I think that sometimes non-white people have a hard time believing when a white person is calling out other white people.
Okay, that'll be it for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Justice.
Right on. I will get back so you can ask some more questions in a hot second. Wow. I want to... wow, that's incredible. First white person who doesn't think we're in a system of white supremacy. MC Serch, head of Serchlite Publishing. Bamboozled. I have got to talk about that. We have to go to that first because, as I said, that's probably one of my favorite films, and I never, ever thought I would be speaking with one of the folks who was in the film. Please, if you could tell them, for the people who are listening who maybe didn't see the film or forgot about it, if you could tell them about the film and your character, 1/16 Blak, please.
Yeah, not a problem. Spike approached me with this idea for this film, which was going to be his first HD film that he was going to shoot 100% on HD cameras, no celluloid, or film, I should say, for Justice. So she understands the difference between celluloid and film. And he said, I got this character for you. And his name is 1/16 Blak, and he runs with the Mau Maus, and I'd like you to read his part and see if it makes sense to you, if you can associate and deal with the character. And to kind of shoot backwards a little bit, the last time Spike had asked me to audition for anything was for Malcolm X. And he wanted Pete and I to play the two cops who go into Malcolm's jail cell and ask him to say his jail number when he refused and only gave his Muslim name. So we're in a room reading with Samuel L. Jackson, who was reading that day the part of Denzel Washington. And I remember specifically that we had to use the N-word. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't even pretend to say it. And my answer, my knee-jerk reaction to Spike was, come on, Spike, man, there's got to be another part I can play in this movie. I mean, I don't want to play the racist white guy because that's not me. I mean, has anybody asked you to be a chauffeur lately? So Spike laughed, and he said, well, read what you feel comfortable. And I really didn't read very well. And my partner, Pete, did the best he could, but I just couldn't do it. So flash forward, and Spike says, I think this is a part you can really do because it makes you the white liberal that you are. So I read for the part and could really associate with it. And the thing that I really liked the most was that not only did Spike ask me to read it, but he asked me to do my own research and come up with the background of 1/16 Blak and how he got down with, Big Blak and the Mau Mau's and what his position was and all of that. And, I am raising biracial children in America, so I could certainly relate to someone who, even though his color might look one way, has an opinion and has a approach to life that's totally contradictive of his color. So, he asked me to play this role, and I was very, very happy to play it. And I have the big Spike Lee scene at the end with I'm white and they kill off my whole crew, and I'm the only one they don't shoot. And it was a tremendous acting, learning, and growth experience for me to be on that set and to work with Spike and to really get a sense of what it is to live in the skin of a character. And I was asked to do several other roles after that. I realized that I was not an actor, and I politely turned them down, and I kept it moving. But, that is, for me, my swan song in terms of acting. I really loved doing that film. I think the film had an important message. I think the film's message was so powerful that there was no way it was going to be seen on a big screen. It had limited release in New York and Los Angeles, and it lives on DVD for people that can find it. It's very, very hard film to find, but I had a great time, and working with the people that I worked with, Jada Pinkett Smith and Savion Glover and Mos Def and all those guys, Mums, and it was just a tremendous experience.
I wholeheartedly second that. For anybody, if you have not seen Bamboozled, make an effort to get it. The cast alone, Johnny Cochran is in Bamboozled, Savion Glover, Paul Mooney, Damon Wayans, The Roots, Michael Rappaport. Incredible cast. I'm leaving out people. Just
no, it was incredible. And the reading, what was really fun was, getting, literally 2 weeks of being in a room with everybody, 4 or 5 hours a day, and just everybody reading together and kind of feeling exactly how this was going to play out.
How, I know for that film, one of the, at least me seeing it, and I've seen the film quite a few times, major message seems to be racism, white supremacy dominates the entertainment industry. White people dominate the entertainment industry. It seemed to be suggesting that suspected racists dominate the entertainment industry, and even when non-white people are doing allegedly black television, put that in quotes, white people control that, and the non-white people who are doing this are pretty much doing minstrel shows. Even when it doesn't look like that, they're basically doing shows that are supporting, reinforcing racism, white supremacy. Would you say that is an accurate assessment of what Bamboozled is about?
I would kind of put a little twist on that. I think the message in Bamboozled, to keep it simple, was the story of a writer who is very proud of who he was, who is trying his best to keep his identity within a very corporate structure. And that corporate structure happened to be a very safe, white environment.
A structure dominated by white people. Would that be accurate?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. And he was trying to maintain his identity with a black staff. He was trying to maintain his identity with doing shows that were not minstrel. And the way he wanted to get out of his contract was to do something completely the most disrespectful thing that you could do, which is a minstrel show in the current era. And what happened was the exact opposite, was the show became a huge success. And instead of him maintaining his identity, he kind of lost his identity with the stardom that now he found himself within. So I think the message truly is that it's hard to maintain identity in the blinding light of success and in the blinding light of the media. And I think Damon Wayans, the way he portrayed the part was great, which was he literally went from being this guy who had a bigger plan for his people and a bigger mission to literally doing the running man at the Emmys, when he accepted his award. And how quickly those who are put in position of power and those, who talk the talk, but when it's time to get their opportunity to walk the walk, can't exactly stay true to form. And you see that a lot. You see that with Dave Chappelle, in all fairness, who did something very true to himself, and then when the light got too bright, he literally was unable to continue. There are plenty of people, black, white, and other, who lose their identity when they have major success. And I think that is the message, as well as the message, that you are very eloquently, saying, and that is equally the message.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't, you weren't saying that was incorrect, because I do agree wholeheartedly.
No, not at all. I was not saying it's incorrect. I just think that there are two sides to every story. And I think that to say that, this black man was controlled by white media, I don't think is fair. I think that he tried to make his statement, and when he found out that his statement was not only being that wasn't getting him the message that he wanted, but actually got him the success, instead of walking away and saying, oh my God, this is ridiculous, why would you even do this show, I quit, he went with it. Because after you shoot a pilot, there's no guarantee. You don't have to do the show. Mm-hmm. I mean, if he was so against the white media, if Damon Wayans' character was so against the white media, well, he certainly could have said, you know what, I can't believe you're buying this show. This is ridiculous. I'm getting out of here. And I'll give you a perfect example in my personal life. I had an opportunity to actually get all of Nas's publishing. I had an opportunity to sign Nas to a long-term contract. And I didn't, because I promised Nas that I would help him get off his feet. And I never wanted to be the Jew that owned the publishing to a black man's publishing. I never wanted to be that guy, because there were too many of them. The Morris Levy's of the world, the Aaron Fuchs of the world, the Jewish and white organizations that controlled so much of black music. I wanted to be the one guy in Nas's life that actually lived by the code that we kind of came up together. Nas asked for my help. I did it. I took what was rightfully mine, not was any more, any less. And when it was time to go, I left. Because that was my choice. And Nas was the biggest artist in the world. People told me I'll never forget, Puffy called me an effing idiot. That what I did was the dumbest thing he'd ever heard in his life. And I said, you know what? That's your choice to believe that. And everybody, from Puff to Steve Stout, they all try to get Nas's publishing. In fact, more black men did him wrong than white people. But that was me. See, I was in the limelight. I chose to stand by my principles. And Damon Wayans in that movie could have done the same thing. He chose not to. And it would have been a boring movie. It would have been a 5-minute movie. He would have quit, and that would have been the end of the film. You have to do it because there are plenty of people. I mean, think about the movie Hollywood Shuffle, right? You got that guy bothering Robert Townsend the whole movie. How can you do this? How can you play a pimp? Yada, 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 yada. You're defaming our people. You're defaming our people. He gets on set. He can't do it. He quits. The first guy to raise his hand, I'll do it, is the guy that was blasting him the whole time. How many times have you seen that in real life? How many times have you seen court justices come from our neighborhoods? I'm talking about black justices come from, Brooklyn, Queens, San Francisco, get into the system and become the system. I mean, it's very, very difficult to maintain an equilibrium of I'm going to be the exact same person no matter what. This is my level of conviction to this cause, and no matter how successful I get, this is what I'm going to be. It's very difficult.
I think it is very important. I want to make sure we rewind. Very important to really hammer home what you just talked about in terms of white people ending up controlling the publishing of non-white artists. There's a long history of that. And just for my listeners who are unfamiliar with how that whole process works and just the importance of who owns your publishing, could you break that down for us so we can get a better understanding of that?
Sure. Publishing is the production and written works that an artist creates.
Okay.
And from the early 1920s and 1930s, there have been white people who have taken advantage of artists and not paid them their royalties, not paid them what they were rightfully due for their publishing, for their written work, who took their publishing without educating them, and because they were ignorant to publishing law, never understood what publishing meant, and were given cars and given jewelry in lieu of the equity of their songs and music. And this was very commonplace, and was very commonplace until about 95, 96, when, artists from the hip-hop community and brothers who were black now kind of got into power and started to help artists understand and educate them on the importance of publishing. But just so we are clear, it's an ignorance issue, because I gave up my publishing to Russell, and Russell's never given me a publishing royalty statement in 20 years. So I don't even know where my publishing is at this point for Third Base. I have never seen a royalty check for Third Base. So it's an ignorance thing. I was 21 years old, and me just getting on was enough. And that's how it was for a lot of artists. And going back to my Nas story, that's why I didn't want what I had for Nas. I made sure that when Nas got signed, that he had just as many points as Billy Joel on the label. That we didn't get a lot of money because I didn't want him to be in the hole. But whatever Billy Joel was making per album was what Nas started making his first album at Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
That his publishing he got an advance for, and that nobody owned it. And all I did was administer his publishing. I have no ownership. I administer his publishing.
What is the difference between owning and administering publishing?
Owning means I can do whatever I want with it. Administering means whatever comes in, I make sure he gets what is rightfully his.
Okay. And do you get any money or any compensation if you administer?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay. Again, MC Serch, Serchlite Publishing, formerly with Third Base. I mean, done lots of things. Justice, do you have some questions you would like to ask our guest?
Yes. Why did you make music not constructive?
Why did I make music? Can you repeat yourself, Justice? I'm sorry.
Okay. Why did you make music not constructive?
Non-constructive? Is that what you were asking me? Non-constructive?
Not constructive.
Not constructive, meaning that I made music that was not helpful?
Well, because the
Help
other
me understand. Okay.
Because the other question that I asked you, I think it was, does your music confuse non-white people? If so, how? And then you said no, and so I asked you, why did you make music not constructive?
I think that you're confused with what I said, because my music was extremely constructive. My music was made for people to start discussions on race and to start to really look at how important race relations were. Not just what was wrong with everybody, but how do we make things right with everybody.
Okay. And Why did you only agree of Gus's definition of 90% of it?
Because I think that once you start to label things as all or nothing, you start to miss the important messages, the other important messages, and the other things in life that can help peace and can help harmony between races.
Okay. Thank you. That'll be all for now.
All right. Thank you, Justice.
I would like to go back before Justice was born. Third Base. I was a fan, listened to quite a bit. You all did, listening to your music, you all did talk about racism. I was watching a film with Desmond Tutu about apartheid in South Africa, and they were showing P.W. Botha, and I said, wow, I didn't even know who that was until I heard the gas face. Can you talk about the influence in terms of why you all were talking about racism and even getting into apartheid in South Africa in your work with Third Base?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was, and for Pete, it was very important that people realize that we, as artists, were very thankful and very appreciative to the black community for allowing us to be involved in rap music. Because when I got involved in hip-hop, and I'm going back to like 79, 1980, going to the High School of Music and Art on 135th and Convent in Harlem and seeing Dana Dane and Slick Rick in the basement of the lunchroom doing Lottie Dottie and doing Hillbilly Girl and you know, not seeing another white face anywhere around them and being the only one there who knew about this because of my friends in Redfern and where I grew up in Queens. Me and Pete had really felt it was our mission and our ethical right that when we made music to definitely take a stand for those who couldn't and make it a point to make race part of our conversation. You know, my line in Gas Face, black cat is bad luck, bad guys wear black, must have been a white guy that started all that. You know, we wanted race to be an issue. So much so that when we put out our first record, we didn't let anybody know we were white. I mean, you're not talking about the time that, you know, of viral, you know, and web and all the imaging. I mean, we just put out a 12-inch. No photo, no video, no nothing. No press photos, nothing. Just the name of the group, Third Base, and our music. And if people liked it, then we wanted to stand on that, period. And then we would figure out all the rest later as we went on. But first thing first, the most important thing for us was for people to love our music. And then once they loved our music, let them get to know us. So it was important to approach race and talk about P.W. Botha and get people talking about what was going on in South Africa at the time. That was real white supremacy. I mean, that was the kind of white supremacy that we had been dealing with in America 400 years prior. And I'm not saying that we didn't deal with it in the 1900s. I'm just saying that the white supremacy that was going on could never have happened in the current state of America in 1989 at that level. Because there was nothing subliminal about what was going on in South Africa. Black men and women were not allowed to vote. They were given portion and ration control. They were given population control. They were being mass executed for speaking out against apartheid. There were blatant open executions in the street. P.W. Botha had called what he called, it was very similar to the Final Solution, which was very similar to Hitler, which was literally anyone who spoke up against it, kill them in front of their children, kill them in the street. It was their way or no way. And we just felt like it was important that we wanted people around the world that were hearing our music, and more importantly, people, you know, in Brooklyn, in Queens, in Long Island, in Connecticut, in LA, you know, in America, to kind of ask those questions. Who is P.W. Botha? You know, who are these people that they're talking about? Like, you know, and we felt like it was what we had to do. You know, no one had ever, until me and Pete came out, no white man had ever gone into the mass media and said the original man is a black man. There was no white people saying that. And we were on TV, we were on radio saying, look, we are white men that realize that we are not original. And that, you know, our power base is really based on fear and based on the fact that, you know, we can't find common ground because we have no culture as white men and white women. And, you know, it was just that was an important message for us to tell people.
When you all came out, this is pre-Eminem, and I remember I was DJing at the time when Eminem debuted, and I remember just tons of talk, oh, we have a white rapper, and he's really good, da-da-da-da-da, and I remember using you all and some other people that I was a fan of, Company Flow as well, LP, other artists that I enjoyed who happened to be white, saying, I don't remember anyone saying, you know, Third Base is out, they're white, oh, they're great. I mean, maybe you heard that. I didn't hear that from anyone. It was just, oh, I like Third Base. I like Gas Face. The album's great, da-da-da-da. With Eminem, it was much more emphasis on the fact that he is a white person. Did you notice that contrast, or am I incorrect? Did a lot of people focus on the fact that you all were a white group when you came out?
No, not at all. There were some very cool pieces written, a very, you know, important political author, Playfell Benjamin, we got the cover of the Village Voice, which was unheard of for a new act back in '89, and the name of the piece, and I still have it framed in my house, is Two Funky White Boys. And he talked about the importance of Mez-Mezzero in jazz in the 20s, and the slang being the real mez for, you know, cannabis, and you know, and him being such an important part, you know, in the jazz scene, and how he kind of, you know, really was deeply immersed in jazz in the New Orleans, you know, scene. And he talked about a couple of other white artists, Lou Reed, and some other artists, and he kind of likened them to us. But we never heard, one thing we never heard is, y'all are good for some white boys. That was something we never ran into. What we did run into is, why you guys trying to be black? Why, you know, y'all some wannabes? Y'all some wiggers? We ran into that, a lot of that, which we found kind of funny. But I think that the reason that Eminem, and you flash forward, you know, 8 or 9 years to Eminem, was because the residue that was left after us was Vanilla Ice. So I think a lot of people thought that, and a lot of people still do in America, believe that hip-hop is Vanilla Ice. So I think they had to kind of decree him the white hope because of just how terrible the last big group in hip-hop was, that was white. I mean, House of Pain, you know, did a good job of coming out right after Vanilla Ice with Jump Around and, you know, their you know, shenanigans and hooligans and being Peckerwoods and, you know, really kind of cueing into their funky Irish culture. But, you know, you had Vanilla Ice, who basically was representing hip-hop culture, who didn't know anything about hip-hop culture. You know, I mean, word to the mother was what we said in the hood. When somebody said word to the mother, and then here's Vanilla Ice on Ice Ice Baby going, word to your mother, who couldn't even get the vernacular right. You know, so that was the residue. So, of course, they really needed it to be emphasized, like, oh, no, he's white, he's really good, because the last guy was really bad.
Do you think both Vanilla Ice and Eminem, the incredible amount of success that they had, do you think that is, do you think a significant factor in that is the fact that they are white? And in my opinion, we are in a system of white supremacy.
You know, I would say that with Eminem, I would say that with Vanilla Ice, yes, that was a white supremacist successful artist. That, you know, that once people that were non-white started to dive into his quote-unquote story of how he was brought up and this and that, they started to pick him apart. And he lost credibility and he lost favor within the black community. But some of the greatest MCs in this culture who are non-white consider him one of the greatest MCs of all time. This is not Elvis. You know, this is not that at all. Eminem grew up in Detroit, and not in a pretty part of Detroit. And white trash in Detroit is just like black trash in Detroit, just like Spanish trash in Detroit. I mean, you know, the hood and the trailer parks are right next to each other. You know, I spent 7 years living in Detroit. I know Detroit East Side and West Side. So he grew up loving hip-hop because that was his escape, because it was his friend's escape, and that's what it was. And he loved the music because the music gave him freedom. Like it gave me freedom, like it gave Pete freedom, like it gives any artist who truly makes music, gives them freedom. But I don't think anyone's putting him in front of Rakim and Jay-Z. I don't think there's anyone putting him in front of Nas or Andre 3000. I don't think there's anyone that's putting him in front of Scarface or Rakim or some of the greatest artists of our generation. I mean, some of the greatest artists that ever lived. But there's no denying he is one of the most talented MCs we have ever seen in this game, black, white, or purple.
Not talking about his skill level, just I want to be very clear. You don't think Eminem as a white person has benefited, and I will say a significant part of his success can be attributed to the fact that he is a white person in what I am saying is a system of white supremacy.
Yeah, no. I would agree to that.
Okay.
And like he even says in his own record, White America, if I was black, I probably would have sold half. So yes, I think that I think it's. I mean, you can't not say that.
Okay.
That definitely, you know, white mothers bought an Eminem record because he was less threatening, even though what he was saying was just brutal on record. I mean, you know, his first album, he's chopping up everybody from his baby mama to his mom. I mean, he's just, you know, he's just killing everybody. But I think they felt safer. I think Middle America felt safer.
White people?
Knowing that Eminem was, yeah.
Okay. Justice, do you have some questions you would like to ask MC Serch?
Hopefully Justice went to bed.
She is a night owl.
She should be asleep. Really, wow. My kids are waiting for me to tuck them in because it's 11 o'clock on the East Coast.
Oh, we're on the West Coast. There's a...
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Justice, are you with us?
Gus, are you there?
Okay, there we go. Yes, ma'am, we can hear you. Go right ahead.
Okay. My question was, how did music give you freedom?
It allowed me to say anything that I thought without anyone telling me to say I couldn't say it.
Okay. And why did you say that I should be in bed or something?
Because I forgot that you guys are on the West Coast where it's only 10 to 8 and it is 11 o'clock and my kids are in bed. And they're a little older than you.
Are we focusing on that, or are we focusing on trying to erase white supremacy.
No, we're focusing on white supremacy for sure.
Okay, then why were you saying that I should be in bed by now?
I was making a joke.
Okay.
Okay.
That'll be all for now.
Okay. Thank you, John.
Context of White Supremacy. Our guest, Serch, and Justice Gus T Renegade. I thought that was very interesting because you said that as an artist, as a musician, doing your music gave you the opportunity to express yourself, and you could say whatever you wanted, and you couldn't be stopped. No one could tell you, you can't say this or you can't say that. John Patosh, he's the author of the FBI War on Tupac Shakur and Black Leaders. He was just on our program yesterday, and he shared a lot of interesting information about how suspected racists, white people, mistreated Tupac Shakur and censored a lot of his material, prohibited him from talking about things, just really mistreated him for the duration of his time on this planet. Do you think non-white artists have that same freedom to say whatever they want and to express themselves in whatever their medium is, music or television, whatever?
I hope so. I mean, I can't speak for other artists and what's in their minds when they make their music. I can only speak for myself and what I not only allow for myself, but what I allow for other artists that I work with and deal with. And I think censorship is a very, very, very slippery slope. And once you start censoring artists and censoring what's said and what's not said, I think that you start to get into a very, very dangerous place.
I'm curious because you executive produced not only Nas's debut album, but his second album, It Was Written, as well. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Nas, one of his more recent projects, the N CD, at least according to reports that have come to my attention, he wanted to title that Nigger, but powerful white people said he could not do that. Now, I could be incorrect, but I have seen this reported, and he does talk a lot about racism on that particular album. That would seem to be an example of what you said, one of the greatest hip-hop artists that we've ever had, being censored and having a suspected racist, a white person, telling him, no, you cannot say this, you are not free to express yourself as an artist.
That was not the option that Nas was given, in all fairness.
Okay, please inform us.
No, it's fine. And the message was given to him by L.A. Reid, who is an African-American man and chairman of Def Jam.
Okay.
He was told very, very simply, if you keep the album the N-word and keep that name of the album, none of the large media outlets will carry your album because they don't want to be affiliated with that word, and they don't want that word to be affiliated with a record that they're going to sell and promote because it is a hateful word. It is a word that has no bearing, it has no basis to be on the shelves of stores across America. If you choose to keep that title, then we're not going to be able to put this record in the stores.
Okay.
Nas made a choice to call it the Untitled Album.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, Nas wants to sell records.
For sure.
But none of the content on that album was censored. Now, if you want to go back to 1994 and go to KMD's second album, Black Bastards, with the Sambo being hung on the noose and Elektra saying, change everything or we can't put this album out, change everything or we're dropping you, then KMD said, fine, drop us from the label, but we're not changing anything.
Wow. Now, did non-white people or white people tell KMD that they had to change it or they were going to drop you?
White people.
White people, okay. I just want to be clear with Nas's more recent work. Now, you said L.A. Reid presented him with the information. Hey, if you keep it the way it is, major outlets, major distributors are not going to carry your product. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And L.A. Reid is a non-white male, correct?
Correct.
Okay. That still seems like, I suspect, powerful white people control these major media outlets. They, I suspect, told Mr. Reid, this is the deal. If that CD comes out and the word nigger is on it, that's the title of the CD, we're not going to carry it. That seems, I suspect that's what happened, which would still mean white people at the end of the day decided what Nas was going to be able to express as an artist, unless I'm misunderstanding.
No, you're absolutely correct.
Okay. Well, so it would seem that as a non-white artist, in what I'm saying is the system of white supremacy, you don't have that freedom to say whatever you want, especially if you seem like, also, I'm glad you brought up KMD because I almost played Peach Fuzz to start the show. As a non-white artist, you do not have that freedom to express yourself, especially if you make an attempt to talk explicitly about racism, white supremacy.
If you're signed to a major label that is a publicly traded label, yes, that's correct. You can always put it out independently, which is what KMD did with Black Bastards. So then nobody's censoring you. But if you're receiving $1.5 million from a publicly traded company, and you willfully take that money for the production of an album, you have to play by the rules. It's just like Major League Baseball. It's just like the NFL. It's just like the NBA. Once you sign that contract, you live by their rules.
For sure.
Because you have bought into the system.
For sure. And what I'm saying is the system of white supremacy, and what I'm saying, the white people control all the rules, ultimately. Worldwide, they make all the rules and change them at will. Justice, I wanted to ask about the new video as well, but Justice, do you have some questions you would like to ask our guest, MC Serch?
Yes.
Okay.
How is music constructive?
I believe music is constructive because it gives artists the ability to express what's in their heart, what's in their soul, and what they want to convey through their melodies and their harmonies and their music.
And do you mean like artists, like painters, or like music?
I mean any artist in any medium, but certainly musicians. I think if they want to convey a thought, they can do it through their music, and it's very powerful.
Okay, and how does the system of white supremacy harm non-white people directly and indirectly?
I think it limits. I think that any type of supremacy takes power from those who cannot manifest power themselves. So any kind of supremacy, whether it's Asian communist supremacy, whether it's tsetse against African supremacy, whatever. I think people in power, anytime someone's in power, stops someone who's not in power from conveying their thoughts and their message, are dangerous.
And I thought you said there's no such thing as white supremacy. And you said that
yes.
there's many supremacies.
Mm-hmm. What I said was, I think that it's 90% accurate to say that there is a infrastructure of white supremacists that control everything globally that goes around in the world. And I said that's 90% accurate. I think there are very, very hard facts and countries out there that don't fall under that banner, that have their own type of supremacy and their own type of submission to make people submit of their own color. But I do not think that it is 100% true that we are globally under the thumb of white supremacy.
Okay, and you said that there would be there's instead of just one white supremacy, there's many, right?
Correct.
How is there many?
Well, I think if you look at different countries that have different leadership, communist countries, you would see that their leaders aren't white, that no one in power there is white, that no one that's making the laws that holds people down are white, and that their system of holding down their own people has nothing to do with white supremacy.
So then that means there's only, well, why is it called white supremacy then? If it's called white supremacy, then it would be many supremacies, right?
Well, I think that it's called white supremacy because for a very, very long time that white people have created governments and forms of government and forms of laws that were directly there to hold people who are non-white down. But I think that in the last 100 or so years, and certainly in the last 30 years, there have been very powerful empires that have come up that are direct threats to white supremacy, that are still very much in control, and not only in control, but growing 5 times greater, 6 times greater than white supremacy is, that are direct threats not only to white supremacists, but non-white supremacists. And I think it's easy to say, well, white supremacy. Black people are this, white people are that. I think that's the easy way to go. I think what's really the way to look at things is to look at it from a right or wrong perspective. Not a black and white, but wrong and right. And there are plenty of people, the president of North Korea, he's wrong. He kills people, Asian people who speak out against communism. He does not allow people in his own country to have cell phones. You are sanctioned. In other words, every time you get on the internet in North Korea, the government has to approve everything you do. So I think that's a form of supremacy that has nothing to do with white people. And they're a direct enemy to the United States. And I don't think there's any white supremacy involved in that country, and they're one of the biggest countries in the world. So that's why I say 90% of what he said is accurate. I don't think it's 100%. I don't think anything is 100%. There are always gray areas. That's why if you want to look at things as wholes, then look at the concept of wrong and right. White people holding down black people is wrong. Peace between all people is right.
So you said that if it's like on a cereal box, then sometimes it says 100%. So you don't agree with 100% on that cereal box?
That is correct. Because that cereal box is incorrect. That 100% is there to sell me on something that isn't accurate.
Okay. That's just very confusing for me.
And I understand it, but just as racism is confusing for not just you, but for a lot of people. And I think that you have to look at racism not as black and white, not as this is wrong. You have to look at wrong and right. You have to be able to kind of see people for who they are, not for what color they are and what they do.
Okay. Do you think you can explain that with 100% better? Because
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. So let's say your mom pulls out a box of Total, and on the box it says Total, 100% of all the vitamins and nutrients you need for the day. But really what Total is a little flake of oats and bran. Now, if you add milk to it, there's some nutrients there. But that can't be 100% of the nutrients you need all day. You still need water. You still need fruit. You still need vegetables. You still need a meat or protein of some kind. So what they're saying is a sales pitch. They're trying to sell you something to make you believe that this is what it is, when in actuality, if you live your life and you go through your day, you can't live on 100% on Total. You can't. It's just, you can't do it.
And so if it's 100 pieces of a puzzle, do you still agree with that 100 pieces?
Well, that would be complete. See, if there's 100 pieces to a puzzle, yes. Now, if the puzzle said that there were 500 pieces, but I only got 400 pieces, then that would not be an accurate puzzle. My puzzle wouldn't be complete.
Okay.
And that's all I'm saying. That in this argument, that's what I'm saying, is that I'm being given a 500-piece puzzle, but I'm really only asked to put together 400 pieces. There's still 100 other pieces that need to go into this puzzle to make it complete.
Okay. And did you say argument? Did you say argument?
I use the word argument in a sentence.
Okay. That'll be all for now. Thank you.
Okay.
Just wanted to point out on the cows, Justice and Gus T Renegade, we have exchanges of views. We don't have arguments. I have never agreed 100% with every guest that I've had on the program, and I do not expect to. We just exchange views and discuss our different viewpoints, and hopefully the listeners will tune in and pick out what they think is constructive and, decide for themselves. No arguments, just exchanging views. I also wanted to point out that I did not attribute anything to white people or non-white people to say white supremacy means that white people are this, non-white people are that. I will say white supremacy means that non-white people are victims of white supremacy. I will say that. But it does not mean, because we're in a system of white supremacy, that I'm saying anything specifically about white people, so-called black people, so-called Asian people, or anyone else. What I mean when I say the system of white supremacy, worldwide, white people dominate the non-white people. I wanted to pick up on something that you were saying when Justice was asking questions. You pointed out different areas where they have a so-called non-white leader. You were using the example of North Korea. Do you think white people in this area of the world, the United States, do you think white people here have much more power than the non-white people in this area of the world, the United States?
Yes.
Okay. And we have President Barack Obama. He is a non-white person. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So the area that you and I both live in is an example of an area of the world with a so-called president who is a non-white person. But we both agree white people still dominate this area of the world, even with a non-white president. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I'm just saying that plays out worldwide. You have tons of so-called non-white presidents and prime ministers all over the continent of Africa, South Korea, North Korea, all over the world. You have a lot of so-called non-white leaders. At the end of the day, white people dominate them worldwide, and I think there's a plethora of evidence that supports this. I wanted to get to the video, and I want people to keep in mind our guest, MC Serch, head of Serchlite Music, recently directed. It's a spoof video, but I mean, lots of people have seen it. I Can Do Whatever, I'm White. Can you please share some information about, putting that project together and why you wanted to direct that video?
Sure. When I was on the radio in Detroit, a young man named Naftali came to me and told me that he liked doing parodies. And I listened to some of his parodies, and he originally just started being an intern at my radio show. And I found him to be really, really funny because he begged people to have conversation. He begged people to be confrontational with him. And when he came to me with this parody of T.I.'s You Can Have Whatever You Like to I Can Do Whatever I'm White, I thought it was hysterical. Because it is just such a farce. I mean, it's just such a farce. And the things that he talks about enjoying are just so stereotypical of white people. Drinking red wine and wearing fanny packs and having a Labrador as a pet, and I just I kind of bought into it because I don't think a lot of people see me as white.
Really?
Yeah, nah.
How did you come to that conclusion that they don't see you as a white
just
person?
Because the way I'm treated by people of color, and the way that I'm perceived by white people. It's just, I've spent so much time in the black community with black people that I've just become much more comfortable around people of color than I am around white people. And I think white people have become increasingly more uncomfortable around me.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So to do this video is kind of funny because I'm sitting there going, I'm white. And, it was really like, honestly, we were just goofing off and having a good time and doing this whole I'm white thing and, the Running Man and the whole thing. And, T.I. was nice enough to do the outro and, and throw his little Hebrew in there, Mishpocha, and, all of that. And, and it was amazing, the response. I mean, at one point we were getting 250,000 views a day. And it was just, the response was incredible. And it was not only responses from people who got the joke, but responses from people who were truly offended, white and black people, who were truly, truly offended that a guy like me who, my whole life I've been very liberal, very outspoken against white supremacy and very outspoken against, white power structure, would do a video where the chorus is, when I'm in Detroit, I run red lights, the cops roll by, they say it's I, you can do whatever, you're white. And I just, again, I just think that people need to relax sometimes, and that was basically, why I did the video, why I chose to direct it, why I put it out on my channel, because I just wanted to have some fun. I mean, we did another parody, and temporarily, I should say this in all fairness, that the Serchlite TV site, the network, is currently down pending legal litigation with YouTube for some complaints and among other things. But we did a video called Anne Frank Bash 2009, where we did a parody of Anne Frank, of her being in her attic, being holed up and, I think that in all seriousness, I think people need to sometimes just relax. And a joke is still a joke. And if you don't find it funny, that's okay. Not every comedian is funny to every person. But I think there has to be a middle ground. And as I get older, I push it a little more and more all the time. But for me, right now in my life, I would never censor Rucka Ali. I believe in him as an artist. And if this is the message he wants to convey, I want to give him the platform. I've never felt at any point with any artist that I've ever done that I would ever censor them and ever stop them from conveying what I think is funny. And I just find Rucker to be hysterical. He makes me laugh. And through my day and through my trials and, you know, the stuff I do with J. Love Calderon and, you know, doing you know, this Are We Living in a Post-Racial Society and the things I do at rap sessions and speaking at schools, I also find the humor in political satire when it comes to race. And I felt it was important. I felt it was important to do a fun video and something that was funny and poke fun at white people.
Wow. People in the chat room, I was fascinated just at the whole white people not being comfortable around you, and you said non-white and white people increasingly thinking that you're not a white person. Could you be more specific? Like, how do you know when you see another white person, they don't think you're white and or are not comfortable with you?
No, you're missing the point. Of course they think I'm white because they see my skin.
Mm-hmm.
But if they know anything about me, they don't talk to me the way they would talk to other white people.
Explain, please.
It's an intangible more than it is anything else. White people like to use slang around me. They'll come up to me and go, "Hey, what's happening, homie?" 45-year-old white men, who are in suits will just come up to me and go, "Hey, what? Yo, I'm down too, brother." Hey, really corny. I find that more black people call me the N-word all the time.
Really?
All the time. Yo, what's up, my? All the time. All the time. My entire, even back in the 80s, when it wasn't even really cool to use, dudes in the hood would call me man. Yeah, that's man right there. I've always had this kind of weird, I want to call it bipolar, but it's not, but this weird polar opposite within, and I've always been listen, I was the first non-African American to host the morning show at WJLB, which is the most historic African American radio station in the country. And the only time the station went to number one was when I was on the air. The last non-African American to be on that station was Casey Kasem in 1953.
Wow.
I mean, I've always just been in situations where I am the Jackie Robinson of white people.
It's just very fascinating.
And even the most, I'm talking about Eric Michael Dyson. I'm talking about Cornel West. I'm talking about, like, people that are very intellectual, very, who just, I'm just one of the guys. I'm just one of the boys.
Huh.
And it's not that way with white people. White people are extremely intimidated by me, and they extremely overcompensate around me and try to talk about how down they are and how much they know about, I got plenty of black friends. I hear that all the time from white people.
Wow. Let me. Oh, go ahead.
Sure. No, I'm done.
I was going to make sure I'm understanding you clearly. This is fascinating. Maybe you should write a book about all this. It's sounding like what you're saying, and please correct me if I'm misinterpreting. It sounds like
No, go ahead.
Non-white people that you're around, and it seems like that you've been around for a long time, non-white people, they don't think you're racist. They just think you're one of them.
No, they don't. I'm a human being to people. They don't categorize me by race. They don't categorize me by one race or another. I mean, my wife, who is African American and Puerto Rican, when our children are biracial, they're of multi-race, and we are raising African American, Puerto Rican, Polish, Jewish kids. I mean, that's who that's who and what we're raising, and people don't look at me like that.
So the non-white people, they don't look at you as a white person, don't think you're racist. He's down, he's with us, he's my nigger, as you said. Well, you didn't say the word, but yeah. White people, you said they get very uncomfortable around you. White people, am I accurate, and would it be accurate to say that white people do not think you're racist either? They think you are down and very cool with non-white people and not racist?
Well, I don't think I'm a racist. I don't know where you get the insinuation that I am a racist.
Oh, I didn't say you were. I just said it seems like you said white.
No. You just said that. Your term. What you just said is, are you saying that white people don't see you as a racist?
Right. That's not saying that you are one. It's just saying white people don't think you're racist. They think you're down with non-white people. That's what I said.
But why? I guess can you explain that to me? Like, why would white people think I'm a racist? I don't understand what you mean by that. Because all white people are racist?
I didn't say that. What I said was...
I know you didn't. That's why I want you to kind of clarify it for me, because I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay. It seems... Okay, we're going to move to your area since you brought up P.W. Botha. It seems very much like if we were in Johannesburg, South Africa, and you spent your time...
I'd be dead.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to put it that way, yes.
Okay.
I would be dead, because I would be with a black woman.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be supporting the white government, and they would probably have killed me off a long time ago.
Okay. It seems like even though, in my view, we're still in a global system of white supremacy, and that certainly is alive and well in this area of the world, President Obama notwithstanding, that the white people see you and think he is not supporting the white team, he's not practicing racism, white supremacy, he's down with the non-white people, and they talk to you like stereotypically a non-white person, because you said they do the whole, what's up, dude, I'm down, and start naming their non-white friends. Unless I'm incorrect, that's what it sounds like.
No. Let me just tell you something. I will tell you a very funny story. I had a general manager of a very large radio conglomerate in a suit and tie telling me how much I'm down because he was a DJ when he was 14 years old in high school.
This was a white person?
This was a white person who runs a very large radio conglomerate.
Okay.
And
so, he was trying to connect to you by saying, I used to DJ when I was a teenager.
Correct.
Wow.
Not for the reason I was there, which was, to make a syndicated radio deal. Not to sit across the table and we did that. But first had to tell me that he was a DJ so that he could make himself feel comfortable around me.
Wow.
Wow. So, to put it short, I mean, I'm sure there are a couple of white people that I've met that have treated me white. I mean, if you really want to go there. But I just think overall, I really have had tremendous difficulty associating with white people my entire life.
Wow. I could be incorrect. It sounds like they don't think you're supporting the white team, and that's why. I could be wrong.
Definitely not. I mean, I had Mordechai Levy come up to me when I was down with Public Enemy. I had Mordechai Levy, who was the president of the Jewish Defense League, who, is in jail for life now, come up to me and tell me he was going to kill me. That I'm the only Jew he would ever see killing because I play for the other team.
Wow.
Said it to me on Broadway. Said it to me on Broadway and 4th Street, West 4th Street. told me he was coming to kill Chuck D. He was coming to kill Chuck D, and he actually tried to. He actually put a sniper post across from 298 Elizabeth Street in 1990.
Whoa.
And shot at the front door at Elizabeth Street, looking for Chuck, and told me to my face he would kill me. That although in the Torah it is a chandra, as they say in Hebrew, to kill a Jew, that he would kill me because I am playing for the other team.
Whoa.
Oh, I mean, the Klan to this day. I get death threats from the Klan all the time. All the time, for my outspoken opinions about white power bases, and I get death threats all the time.
Wow. I'm just very interesting. Very interesting. I want to make sure we get some calls before we wrap up, folks.
Yeah, please, because I gotta bounce.
Oh, okay. We'll go to the phone lines now. Anybody, if you want to call in, it is 347-215-6071. I will see if we have folks who want to call in and ask MC Serch some questions. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to speak with us this evening. I know I saw one person online already. Justice, do you have a question before I get the phone line?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, no, I don't. Sorry. No, I don't.
No problem.
Okay,
no problem.
Why? Wait a minute. Why did you say good?
No. I didn't say good like that. I meant like, okay, fine. That's okay. That if you don't want to ask a question, that's okay.
Okay. I don't. Thank you. I'm done.
Okay. It was nice meeting you, Justice.
909. You are on the air. If you have a question you would like to ask MC Serch.
Hello, MC Serch.
Yes. Hi. How are you?
How you doing? I still got a Terrorism CD, as a matter of fact.
Well, thank you.
I like listening to you. He came up with KMD and all those cats that came up, around your time, and I still got KMD's CD also. So yeah, I used to listen to your music back in the day. And,
thank you.
I was just gonna say, I think it was a punk group back in the '80s. I think they were called Straight Edge. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
Oh, well, they did a song about being white, and according to them, according to the writer of the song, he said he put the song out to say basically that he felt like a minority, and he was just saying, don't judge me for slavery and this and that. And I can't remember what the chorus line was, but what happened was, like in Europe, the skinheads and the white supremacists, they took that song, and it was a part of their rally cry and their, you know what I'm saying, they used it to hype themselves up in their stance against non-white people, you know what I'm saying? So even though sometimes, like the white artist was saying, he didn't put the song out to be a white supremacist song, but the white supremacists took it and they ran with it, and he was basically saying, don't blame me because I'm white, and the chorus was, saying like, I didn't do nothing, blah, blah, blah. But I was just saying, I've been reading some literature basically on, satire, and the fact that satire is pretty much dead, and people really don't understand satire, is that when you look at something that's basically saying, I can do what I want because I'm white, it's not a joke and it's not satire, because that time is past. If you understand technology, what you see and what you hear, the media is the message. There's no inference onto it. You know what I'm saying? When you see something and you hear something, it is what it is. So I was just thinking, maybe if you are familiar with the work of Marshall McLuhan, and if you maybe do some reading on that, because, you know, like when you put out literature, I know maybe you don't intend for it to be white, you know, a white supremacist stance, but I think it pretty much is. Even though I haven't seen the video, just hearing what has been said about it, it's a serious thing, and it's, you know, I think you should be more careful about the things you do.
Okay. Well, I mean, I appreciate that 909, but I want to point out something, and I think it's important. For you to take the entire context of the song and go to the title, I Can Do Whatever I'm White, that's like me going to the David, one of the most beautiful Michelangelo sculptures, and taking off the penis and just showing you the penis. If I just showed you the penis, you would find that vulgar. But this beautiful piece of art that is sculpted is one of the most beautiful pieces of works of man. And you have to really listen to the song, watch the video. So it's easy for you to say, yes, white supremacists could get it twisted by saying, I can do whatever I'm white, if you take that one line. But you need to really watch, you know, you need to watch the video and listen to the song, because it really, there is nothing white supremacist about it. There is nothing in that song that could be misconstrued for someone saying that literally I have ultimate power because I'm white.
Okay, easy for you to say, you know what I'm saying?
No, you're right, because I was there when it got created. No, you're absolutely right, 909. I got you. But I'm just saying that when we have discussions like this about race, and when we have discussions about this, about, you know, supremacy, we can't take portions of things and use them as examples.
Yeah.
Because I can show you countless ways that becomes not only illogical, but it leads to poor information and bad information. And if you watched it, and if you know anything about Third Day, if you know anything about KMD and Mr. Hood and the jeweler that goes through that whole piece, it's comedy.
No,
it is meant to be funny, and it is funny.
It's not funny to me, you know. It's not.
Well,
funny.
But you haven't seen it.
No, I'm talking about.
You just said it yourself.
No, I haven't seen that particular. No, I haven't seen. I'm saying KMD when it came out. I thought it was cool. I thought it was really trying to say something. But now that I've grown and gotten older, and I look at it now, it was basically just, you know what I'm saying, it was like blackface and those kind of images. You can't get anything good out of it. It just, now that I understand what's going on, it was really just, it wasn't good, you know what I'm saying, having those images out there. It was still having that pickaninny, blackface type of image out there. You see it, you know, it's just seeing something like that, big lips and red and all that stuff it empowers and it upholds white supremacy, in my opinion.
Well, I appreciate that, and I really appreciate you calling and letting me know that. Thank you.
Thanks, Kat. Thanks, man.
All right, easy.
The video, for anybody that's listening to this program at Blog Talk Radio, the video is linked in the description. All you have to do is click on it. It'll take you right to the site. You can see the whole video if you have not seen it, so you can check it out and kind of come to your own conclusion. I know I had watched it several times before you came on the program, and I think I definitely watched it and thought, okay, I think easily one could watch this and say, this is white people kind of poking fun at the amount of fun, privilege, and power that white people have in the system of white supremacy.
Right.
That's what I concluded.
Right.
You said it's a parody. It is poking fun at white people, but I think in the manner that it's poking fun, even a line that you discussed on the program about running the red light, cop doesn't care, that's kind of poking fun at the privilege and power that you have as a white person in the system of white supremacy. Is that an incorrect conclusion to draw?
Absolutely incorrect, because if you lived in Detroit, no one runs red lights in Detroit. The cops will bag you whether you white, purple, Puerto Rican, Asian. They're not having it in the D, period. You can be whatever in the D. They're not having it. I mean, the lyrics in the record is, he is sitting at home drinking red wine. He says, I can wear my shorts above my knees, and I always pay my Blockbuster fees. This is a total parody of white people, of white attitude, of white people, of what makes white people really corny. And there is not one iota. I mean, again, if you want to pick out the one line, yes. You could certainly say that in the record, if he says, cops don't mind, you could do whatever, you're white, yes. Certainly that is a political satire line that could be misconstrued and looked deeper into and saying, see, it just goes to show again that there is a double standard for white people and black people. If you wanted to look at it that way, you could. It's the same way that 909 talked about looking at the KMD, the Sambo, logo that they had with the Ghostbuster thing in between, through it, to say no more Sambo, no more, blackface, no more minstrel show. That we are the intelligent black men of this next generation, and what we are going to talk about is uplifting our race through religion, through order, through discipline. It's very simple to pick things apart. It's what the Nazis did to the Jews. It's what the two black tribes are doing right now in Somalia. It's what the black tribes are doing in Darfur. I mean, it's what the North Koreans are doing to the Koreans in South Korea, in Tibet. I mean, if you take one piece of something and you build your argument on one piece without seeing the whole thing, you're getting into very dangerous areas. And once we start looking at things and dissecting them and pointing one thing out of 20 lines, 30 lines, we start to lose, you start to focus on the madness in the message. And that is not certainly not what I'm raising my kids to be about. And God, I can only hope that's not what Justice is being raised to see. You have to look at the whole picture. You have to. Because if we don't, then we're falling into the same bad habits over and over again.
Valid point. 731, do you have a question you would like to ask the guest?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. This is Dr. Masera. I'm really enjoying you, MC Serch. And you're making very valid points. And I'm just enjoying the show.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for calling. I appreciate your comment. Thank you.
Yeah.
Where were you a teacher at? Do you mind me asking?
Well, I have an organization called the Save Our Hope Foundation. Mm-hmm. And, I was listening to you earlier. I can't remember particularly what you said, but one thing that struck me with the Save Our Hope Foundation, people have problems with the name, but in the genre of the hip-hop and rap, they call women, the bees and the hoes. And so I ask people, what is the problem about saving a hoe, except you want to exploit one? And what does Santa Claus say every year? Huh? What does Santa Claus say?
I mean, ho, ho, ho. I mean, yeah, I got
Merry
it.
Christmas.
I got it. Right. So, no, I think that's I think I could see how, people could definitely misconstrue that. But I think that, one of the things I talk about on my radio show in Miami so much is that I am putting together what's called a game series, mm-hmm. GAME, Grown Ass Man Experience.
Okay.
Where the whole concept is we need to wife more women out here. Mm-hmm. But not only wife them, we have to educate more men on how to be grown-ass men.
Right.
There's not enough education on how to be a grown-ass man because they didn't have grown-ass men in their lives. I mean, this is a staggering report. 86% of the children born in Detroit are born to single mothers.
Right.
86%. Mm-hmm. So we have a large group of children being raised not by men, mm-hmm. and are losing valuable, important information on how a man raises a family, a responsible man.
Right.
My wife was raised by a single mother. We now have a boy. She doesn't understand it. I don't expect her to. Mm-hmm. It's my job to raise my son. It's her job too, but I don't expect her to understand the little nuances that it takes to raise a man. Because there are subtle nuances. There are subtle nuances in puberty that is different between men and women. There are subtle nuances that are different in a man's mind and a woman's mind in the important, impressionable teenage years. And if you're not a responsible man, you're either teaching a man and a woman how to disrespect themselves, or you're teaching a man and a woman how to degrade other people for your own benefit.
Right, absolutely.
And if my wife was here raising my son, they would have a tough time. Because as intelligent as my wife is, and my wife is one of the most smartest, brightest women I've ever met, she has told me countless times, thank God you're here, raising our son, because I don't know what I would do. So think about that, and think about all the other women who are raising men, when they were 22, 23, 24, raising teenagers, when they're still teenagers themselves.
Absolutely.
I wish you the best in your program too. It sounds like a very forward-thinking program.
Yes, and I want to say this. When I did a hoe is a garden tool used for cultivation, and so in the garden it's also a noun. So we're not just talking about women. We're talking about men as well, because a noun denotes person, place, or thing. And the misnomer, it comes just like when you talk about race, white and black. And one of the things I found in my research when Yahweh gave me the name, the Save a Whole Foundation, that white and black are adjectives. So you have people engaging in biasness that's not based on anything. So I resonate that I'm a spiritual being in a body having an earthly existence, and there are two forces, good and evil, and that is in all races, sizes, and colors. So the skin color doesn't have anything to do with it. It's the nature of that being.
Of the person. Yeah, no, it's very interesting you said that. I was just having an educational discussion with my rabbi, and my rabbi was talking about the true two selves, because every man, woman, every human being on this earth has two selves. And in Judaism, they call it the true self and the animal self, because we all have animal self in our body, and how we maintain and control the animal self is how we really get to true self. Because if you let the animal self go, then you're liable to do anything, because the animal self is savage. The animal self only thinks of itself. But true self thinks about giving to others and about being open to others.
Right.
Thank you, 731, for calling in and sharing that information. I appreciate you calling in for Mr. Serch. Before we get out, I wanted to check. Justice, did you have any questions you wanted to ask our guest?
Yes. Are you a victim of white supremacy?
Am I? I'm sorry, say that one more time, Justice.
Sorry, that wasn't my question, but are you a racist?
Am I a racist? I am pro-human race.
What's that?
I am all for the human race.
It
means that...
all I need is just a yes or no. Are you...
you just want a yes or no. No, I'm not a racist.
Okay, then that means you would be a victim, right?
I would be a victim of racism, yes.
Okay, then you would be like a non-white person, right?
Well, technically I am a non-white person.
But you were just talking about that my skin was white and non-white is so-called black.
No,
So
I did not. No, that's not what I said.
it was that was earlier when you were saying that my skin is white.
Yeah, that people see my skin as white. Do you understand the difference? It's not that I'm a white person. It's that people see my skin as white.
So you said that you are a non-white person, right?
I would say, based on the way you're positioning your question, that yes, I am a non-white person.
Okay, so then that means you're black, right?
No, that does not mean that. It means I'm non-white.
Non-white is black.
That's not true. There's many other colors in the world besides black and white.
Okay.
If you have time, we had one other person that slipped in, 831. If you would like to ask a question, you are on the air. Did you have a question, or if you're just listening, that's fine too.
No, I don't really have a question, I don't guess, but maybe I have a comment. So-called European, Western, i.e. white scientists have said that all human beings are originated from black mitochondrial DNA, so that means you're black. So all people on this planet are black. Okay. So does the guest tonight believe that he is black or he is white? Because if you say you're white, that's not true, because we all come from the black mitochondrial mama.
Well, that's what I was just saying to Justice. And the young lady who co-hosts the show, who's 10 years old, wanted to ask me if I was white or non-white. And my answer to her was that I'm not white. My culture and my people all originate from black people, from Palestine, from Israel, from Adam and Abraham, who were black.
951 did have a question. 951, can you ask your question?
Greetings, Gus and Justice, all victims of racism.
Greetings, sir.
MC Serch, I believe in the beginning of the program you were asked by Gus T Renegade if you were a white male, and you said yes, you were. And Justice asked you if you were white again, and you said no. I don't know. Doesn't really add up.
Right.
All victims of racism listening, I detected a lie.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a lie, but you know what?
Wow, white people are awesome at deception.
But what I should say, and what I should clarify, and what I should have said in the beginning was, no, I was not white. But for the sake of the conversation, I did say it.
So you practice deception?
I guess I do practice deception. Yes, I do.
Oh, so you do? Okay. Are you white, just for clarification?
No, I am not white.
But he could be lying.
But I could be lying.
No further questions.
Because I do practice deception. That is very, very astute of you to point that out.
I just remember you said you were white, and the victim of racism later asked if you were white, and you said no. So.
Right, because as you have astutely pointed out, I practice deception.
Oh, I didn't point that out. You said you did.
No, you did. You said so you practice deception.
That was a question. Excuse me. You said yes, you did, but excuse me.
Right,
Gus.
Right, and I'm only agreeing with you based on the points that you brought out. That based on the fact that I said I was white earlier, and now I'm saying I'm not white. That yes, I practice deception.
Oh, okay. No further questions.
Okay. Well, you have a good night, man. Thank you for calling.
Very interesting. We're going to get ready to wrap up. I did want to point out that is very interesting because you did say, I was going to just say that. You did say at the beginning of the program that you are a white person. Now you're saying that you are not a white person. That is very suspicious behavior, especially given that you said that you do not think we're in a system of white supremacy. and particularly since you are in a sexual relationship with a non-white person. You said your wife is a non-white person. Very suspicious. Man, I suspect you could be an extraordinarily refined racist, especially since you are able to be around non-white people, and you said they don't think you're racist. Wow, very interesting, very, very interesting.
But I am glad you think so. I'm glad I gave you something to think about.
For sure. Can you please tell us, the website is linked for Serchlite Music. Can you give us the website so they can go there and check it out and see the video?
It's Serchlite.com, www.serchlite.com.
Are you still doing the radio program in Miami?
Yes, I am. Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., 103.5, and my nationally syndicated show, The Old School Show, around the country.
Is it online?
We're practicing deception in at least 10 states.
Is it online?
Yes, you can get it online, theoldschoolshow.com, www.theoldschoolshow. Old School is SKOOLSHOW.
Outstanding. I want to thank you for taking your time out to hang out with us this evening. Learned a lot. Very interesting broadcast. I'm glad someone recommended you to come on the program, and I'm thankful for you spending your time with us.
It is my pleasure.
MC Serch, everyone. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your evening. I know it's late out there, but enjoy the rest of your evening, sir.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very interesting conversation, MC Serch. Very, very interesting. We had an individual admit that he was white and then say that he was not white. I am, I don't even know what to say. Jinkies. And I was a fan. I liked Third Base. I listened to their music. Gosh, he said he was white and then he said he was not white. That total confusion. And he said non-white people are not suspicious of him. Gosh, I mean, I feel like Dr. McIntosh and Tim Wise are not as slick as MC Serch. Gee whiz. Man, oh man. What did you think of our guest, Justice?
I think that he was practicing white supremacy.
I agree.
Even though when he said he wasn't a racist and he doesn't practice white supremacy, I still think that he is a racist and he practices white supremacy.
I strongly suspect that he is practicing white supremacy. Someone in the chat room said you were the MVP for the program, Justice. There you go. Outstanding job. You are asking excellent questions. Excellent questions for the program. I'm just flabbergasted. He said he was white, and then he said he was not white. What in the world? And I've seen that before. I have seen that before with white people, and I'm still stunned.
Has anybody said that?
Yes.
Besides MC Serch?
Yes. I have met white people before who I asked, are you a white person? And they said yes. I even met a white person who was publicly identified as white by other white people. And then a few months down the road, we were talking about white supremacy, and this white person said, oh, wait a minute, I'm not white. And, I mean, we're all sitting there like, what? You said you were white. You said it. You said it to tons of us. When did you become not white?
It's like you can't. It's either one or the other. I mean, you can't be both.
Exactly.
Even though when you have one white parent and one non-white parent, I mean, you're probably going to be non-white.
He's in that situation. He has a non-white spouse. He's married to a non-white female, and I suspect his children would be classified as non-white. I suspect he is causing a lot of confusion. I mean, were you confused by what he said on the program tonight?
Yes, I did. I mean, especially when he was saying, about he was non-white or white. I mean, I said, are you a victim of, if you're a white Because he said earlier he was a white person.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's saying that he's a non-white person. I mean, it's either one or the other. And then I was saying if you're I forgot what I said earlier, but if you're a non-white person, then you would have been a victim, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, you did say that. I remember.
So, I mean, it's either one or the other. I mean, I suspect he's white. I mean...
I suspect he is most likely a racist. Unfortunately, I suspect he is a racist. Man, oh man, I really, man, that was what an interview. My goodness, I'm not even saying that I did a great job on the show. It was a fascinating program, and I hope everyone caught how incredibly informed he was about lots of things. I really felt like he was on the level of Dr. McIntosh or Tim Wise in terms of how informed he was and pushing the conversation to try to say that, well, North Korea, we don't have white supremacy, you got non-white people mistreating each other there and that type of thing. And, I mean, gee whiz, he said he was white, and then he said he was not white. My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. Yes, someone in the chat room, MC Serch gets the gas face because, I suspect he was practicing white supremacy on the broadcast. Man, oh man. At any rate, previous programs, please make sure you check out the program with Neely Fuller Jr. He was on the show last week, and I suspect we're doing enough shows that it'll probably get bumped down so you won't see it on the player on the first page. But Neely Fuller Jr. was here last Thursday. You can check that one out. You can, if you don't know who MC Serch is, yes, you can Google Gas Face, and it should pop up, and you can see his videos on YouTube and all that. Step into the A, and they did lots of stuff. But yeah, John Patash, excellent program. He was on with us yesterday. We were discussing Tupac Shakur and how he was mistreated by suspected racists in the FBI and CIA and various enforcement officials, police units across the country. Excellent program. Please check that one out. Justice and I will be back on Thursday at same time, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. We will be back. Our guest will be Lul Mengesha. He is a non-white male, and he graduated from the University of Washington. He wrote a book called The Only Black Kid, which talks about being like one of a handful of non-white students in a predominantly white institution, a predominantly white school. And he talks about that experience and being mistreated, things he learned to deal with it. He'll be our guest on Thursday. That's 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, and for Lauren Ashley, 9 p.m. Central. We will be here. We also have a show Saturday and 2 on Sunday, so we'll be very busy this week. Hopefully we'll be constructive in the process. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into the program. Justice, would you like to share anything else before we close out the program? Justice, are you with us?
Oh, sorry. No, I don't.
You don't want to tell me your email address?
Oh, sorry, yeah. justice.asap@yahoo.com.
Right on. I think 720, you might have gotten an accidental message today if you check this broadcast out. Accidental message, but she did thank you for sending it in. You were appreciative, yes? I said 720, he emailed you today. You were thankful that he sent you that message, correct?
Yes.
Right on. Right on. Thank you, 720, for messaging our co-host, Justice. Yes, we hope everyone will be back on Thursday for Lowell Mengesha, and check out the archives. Thank you, Back of the Bus, for calling in and catching that, getting Mr. Serch to agree that he does practice deception. Thank you. That was Back of the Bus. Nice assist. Please check his blog out, nonwhitealliance.wordpress.com. One more time, that is nonwhitealliance.wordpress.com. And please check my blog, racism-notes.blogspot.com. Man, oh man, very interesting program. I'm going to have to check this one out. Very interesting. And again, from the chat room, Justice, MVP of the program. Excellent way to question a white person. Phenomenal job. Justice and Gus T Renegade, we will be back. I'm going to play Mr. Williams' commercial for the Counter Racism Network. And once that's done, we will call this one a wrap. Here we go with the... person has a hand up. I'm going to check. I hope they're going to be brief because I'm ready to go to refresh from this program, but I will see 909 if you have a brief comment or question you would like to make before we close this out.
Yes, I'll make it brief. I know you got to go. I just wanted to say this is Red calling from California, and I think your show is very important, and I'm kind of upset right now because it seems like they're like the racists or the white supremacists, like putting it in our face and then want us to believe that it's funny and this, that, and the other. When they're just putting it right in our face like this is what we can do and this is what we're going to do, and it's just funny and it's just fun and games. And I just want to say to all of the victims of racism out there, stop letting these snakes into your life. And it's a serious thing. These people come and they slither in, and like you said, they're very refined and they're masters at deception. And it just upsets me that this cat is around black people all the time with that nonsense. And they be like, yes. You could just imagine the comments that he get from blacks and non-whites. You're right. Yes. And this cat, and he's totally deceiving them. It just makes my blood boil, you know. But I love your show, man. I mean, it's helped me a lot. It's only a few things. Francis Cress Welsing, Neely Fuller. It's certain things that really opened my eyes, and your show is one of those landmarks in my life. So, you know, thank you very much. And justice is our secret weapon.
No, she was the MVP today. That is directly from the chat room. She was not the secret weapon. She was the MVP,
yes, the MVP
for the program.
She is definitely the MVP.
You said Red, is that correct?
Yes, Red.
Okay. I appreciate the support, sir. If you think it's constructive or helpful in any way to you, or you think it would be helpful for non-white people, share it with them for sure. If you want to write in, if you have suggestions for guests or anything you think we should focus on,
yes.
Feel free. Oh, do you have some?
Oh yes, I'll try and email you. I'm going to email you anyway because I want to do like a commercial for your show so I can put it out to an email blast because people need to hear this show. People need to hear your archives, and they need to hear the shows that you put on. I mean, your shows are incredible, man. Incredible. I don't know how many listeners you get, but more people need to be listening to your show. I mean, incredible. Your show is incredible.
We appreciate it, both Justice and I. Never enough listeners. I could always use more non-white listeners. So, yeah, please shoot me an email. My email is, you can send it to untiljustice@gmail.com. You can send it to that. I check that one daily. But, yeah, if you can do any sort of advertisement, promotion, commercial, anything, I would for sure be grateful. Just shoot me an email if you want to talk about that. I check it every day. So, yeah, I would definitely appreciate the support. Or if you have any guests that you think should come on the program, if they have something constructive to share, you can send me that as well. But untiljustice@gmail.com.
Okay. Thanks again.
Thank you. I hope the programs have been worthy of your time and energy.
Oh, man. Word. I mean, I can't even. I mean, your shows give me that strength. That strength that I'm not easily deceived. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I know exactly what the telltale signs when you start talking about North and South Korea. You know.
He was really good, though. That's what I'm saying. It really blew me. Like, he was really refined,
slick.
Very refined,
super slick. I mean, but those people, him and his rabbi and all that stuff he was talking about, those people are the most refined at what they do. They are very, very refined, and they've studied how to get in and not be noticed, and do those subtle suggestions, and they put them in. It's mastery. And that's a part of your show that I really appreciate, is to watch these masters of deception try to get over. And sometimes they do. They'll have you laughing at something, or, you feel me, agreeing with something that's totally crazy, totally disempowering, totally what I would say, realistic.
Mm.
And it's so subtle, it have you nodding your head before you even know it.
Mm.
You agreeing. I mean, that's a powerful weapon. And our people have no idea what they're up against. No idea. Just like the lady that called in talking about save a hole, whatever. She was pretty much, oh my goodness.
I suspect she's a victim.
Very much, yeah.
I am too. I'm confused. I don't,
I
don't look down on anybody.
Right.
I'm confused too. So,
Right.
I have seen it happen, and I have been victim myself. So,
Yeah, me too.
I
sympathize.
Yeah, totally. That's why I don't look down. Same thing I told Dr. Holman. I don't look down on any non-white people. I'm not in a good spot myself. I'm a victim. I'm still on the bottom of the boat too. So, we're all in this in a bad way together. But, that's to blame white people for that as well.
Yes.
I agree completely with what you said, though, about how refined white people are at this point, and how non-white people just, being really clueless about this. And I really see it playing out. That's really why I try to get mostly white people on the program, so they can demonstrate for themselves, because I've had just tons of non-white people tell me that they think Tim Wise and Jessica Pettit and Dr. Peggy McIntosh, they think these people are just wonderful. They're not racist. They're here to help. They're our allies. And I just, you got to be joking. These people, nothing that I say is going to change anyone's mind. I just enjoy the opportunity to get them to come on my program, and I feel they can show you better than I can tell you. If you listen to them on the program and you think they're really down to support ending racism and they're really allies with non-white people, fine. But I don't think any white person has come on this program and demonstrated that, at least in my view.
Yeah, they'll expose themselves. If you give them the opportunity, they can't help it. They will expose themselves, and just keep giving them the opportunity. And that's what we can do. We give them the opportunity. We show the proof. And if you want to deny the facts and if you want to deny the proof, then don't complain when you get what you get, when they really do turn on you, whatever plan they got coming down the pike.
For sure. Man, I appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the program. I'm thankful that it is of some value to you. I appreciate it, and I for sure will be looking out for the email if you have suggestions or anything you think we can do to help get more people to listen to the program. I definitely am down.
Okay. Yeah, I'm calling from California, so I have a lot of people out here that I deal with, and try to wake people up every day. So I'm going to definitely shoot an email blast out to them of your shows, and I have a nice little library of some of your of the podcast, and I want to get more, but sometimes my computer won't go all the way back to the earlier shows. So I'm going to talk to you about maybe having a site of just the podcast of your shows, if we can do something with that, where we can just go and have a list of the podcast, the downloads, because sometimes it's hard for me to get some of the earlier shows.
Okay, I'm down to do it. If I could share one thing to maybe assist if you want to get back to earlier programs, because Dr. Welsing has been on this show too. If you look at my homepage, right, on Blog Talk Radio, there should be, on the right side of the page, there should be a listing with the months of the year, and it'll have, in parentheses, it'll have the number of programs that were done in that month. You should be able to click on any of those months, and it will just show you the episodes for that particular month. So you should be able to go all the way back to February was the first show here. You should be able to just click one of those, and it should just take you back and just show you the episodes for that month if you are having difficulties navigating back to get to previous shows that are done. I don't know if you tried that method or not, but that should work.
No, I never tried that. I've seen those months on there. I never clicked on them, so that's what I'll do. Yeah,
that should work. If it doesn't, let me know, and I'll see if I can think of some more suggestions. But that should be. I mean, that's a more cumbersome way, but that should at least give you access to all the shows. Because, like I said, Dr. Welsing, she was here. She was one of my first guests that I had on the show, so she's back there. And Neely Fuller's been here twice now. So, yeah, there's lots of folks have been here at this point.
Yep, great shows, man. I mean, I can't express how important I think they are. So. I'll call in as often as I can, and just to listen, you know.
Oh, for sure. I'm glad you questioned tonight. I appreciated that.
Yeah, because one of the shows I want you to do is on technology. I don't think our people really understand technology. The media is the message. I don't care what kind of message you're trying to put forth or the subliminal message you're trying to get across. When you see somebody on the screen saying that they can do whatever they want, or they in some type of blackface, that's the message. I don't care what you're saying. That's the message. It's what you see and what you hear. So, you know, they want to put it in our face, and we need to call them on it every time.
Wow, I think you are. I think you have a lot of valid points there, for sure. I think white people are doing that all the time, just clowning, laughing at us, and just having fun, mistreating us, and putting it out very blatantly, all the time, really, all the time. I think that's one of the things that they enjoy doing, is just publicly humiliating and mistreating us all the time. So, for sure, yeah, if you have suggestions about a program that could be done around that, just get it to me, and I'll see if we can make it happen.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate the call in. I'm thankful the programs have been helpful, and I will for sure be looking out for the email, sir.
Okay. Thanks again, and have a good night. And thank you, Justice. Keep up the good work. You can hear me.
Huh? Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Gus.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I will definitely look forward to you calling in again, sir.
Okay. Peace.
Wow.
Justice.
Hello?
I think he broke up a little bit.
Oh, I was saying peace and justice. You know, no peace before justice. You understand?
For sure. Justice, and then we can celebrate. For
That's
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure. Me and Justice are going to get donuts and ice cream once we replace white supremacy with justice. We have already picked out the spot for donuts and ice cream at the same time.
Right.
That is the motivation.
And let me say one last thing about laughing. Justice on the show with I forgot the lady that you had after Neely Fuller.
Ariela Gross.
Yes, Miss Gross. When Justice said that she didn't appreciate that woman laughing, she checked me with that comment, because I find myself, it's not, like you said, it is not funny. We are victims. You know what I'm saying? Now, we can laugh at, we can enjoy ourselves when it's appropriate, but you really touched me when you made that comment, Justice, when you said you didn't appreciate how she was laughing. I mean, that woke me right up. And I just wanted, 10 years old. Amazing, absolutely amazing. I mean, some people probably question you, Gus, for having Justice on the program, but that comment alone justifies her presence.
People question me for everything, who I bring on the show, who I don't bring on the show, everything. So I frankly don't care what they have to say. Justice, I would take her over 99% of the non-white people I know as a co-host for the program. I think she has contributed a wealth of constructive input to the program, and I don't care what anybody has to say about her presence or anything else I do with the cows. And if they don't like it, start your own program. I will come and listen and see if I can learn something constructive, and I suspect Justice would too if you were doing anything constructive to replace white supremacy with justice. But in the meantime, she and I will be here as long as she wants to do it and as long as I want to do it.
That's right. They can't stop us. They can't stop it. It's already archived.
Oh, well, the white people could. I wasn't really talking to white people. White people could, and they have shut this show down before. So I want to be clear about that. I'm not saying white people can't stop this show. They for sure could, and they have before. And I have seen where they have tossed other non-white hosts off of Blog Talk Radio and tossed all the archive shows as well. So they could do that.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm making my library. I'm putting them on disc and that's why I'm making the library. That's why I wanted to get all of the shows so I can archive them and have them just in case something like that happens.
If you think they're of value, I would anybody that's listening to this archive, if you think any of the shows that have been done here are of value and you think you might want to listen to them again, I would highly encourage you to download them, because I have seen where programs on Blog Talk Radio with non-white hosts, and at least 2 that I know of, they talked about racism. They got thrown off, and all the shows got deleted. I know that could happen with this program. So if anything you like that's here, I would advise you to download it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I didn't know about them taking off the archives like that.
Alexis K. Tyler, she lost a lot of them. And she's done some shows where she talked about it, but she had Neely Fuller Jr. on her program twice. She had Dr. Welsing on her program, and she had Pharrell Winfrey on her program twice. And all those shows got deleted. The head operator at blacktalkradio.net, he also had a program that pretty exclusively talked about racism, and he said his show was thrown off. All his shows were deleted. The archives were thrown out. And he said, that they said he was being racist. But I could be incorrect, but that, I believe, is what he said. I believe he even came on my program and talked about it for a little bit. But, so I know at least 2 non-white people that has happened to. So I would, download anything that you think is constructive here, or any other non-white person that has a program here talking about racism. Download it to be sure that you have it.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I said your shows are important. I think people should, because they're getting even better. From when I first started listening, so they're getting better. So people need to be listening while we have it, and it's a definite powerful resource, and people are missing out, I think. So thanks again.
Thank you, sir. I will definitely be looking for that email, and Justice and I will continue to try to work to be constructive.
Okay. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right on. That was pleasant. Non-white person thinks we're doing constructive work, and you have another fan. See, you have done constructive work, I think, Justice.
Yep.
And more work to do. And I think that was a good point you picking out when Ariella, I said her name incorrectly. Ariella Gross. When you pointed out that she was laughing, and I said on the program that I had laughed too, and that was incorrect. You should.
But I mean, like, I understand that. I mean, like, some things can be funny. I'm saying that I think she was laughing because, well, actually, I don't know why she was laughing.
Did you think it was incorrect for her to laugh because you think that could have been her practicing racism, like her finding something funny about either her being a racist, practicing racism, or us being victims of racism?
Yes.
Okay. That's, I think, something we should be mindful of in having discussions about racism. If people are laughing, white or non-white, if people are laughing, why are they laughing? And, is this something that they're taking seriously? I think that's something we should all try and pay attention to. And again, because I laughed too, and I admitted on the program, I announced that, that was probably incorrect, and, this is serious, so, we should try and move forward and save the jokes for another time as opposed to when we're not talking about racism, white supremacy. So excellent job pointing that out, Justice. And again, from the chat room today, MVP of the program today, Justice. I can't play the commercial now. My screen lost it, so sorry, Mr. Williams. I tried. I will get you next program. Wasn't my fault, though. I had it, but I took the caller. I was glad I got his call in. But I will get you next time. Visit Mr. Edward Williams' site, counter-racism.com. He has lots of programs with Neely Fuller Jr., Dr. Francis Cress-Welsing. This program is rebroadcast there. Cree, a counter-racist evolving engineer, her show is there as well. So please check out counter-racism.com. And we are the second time around. We're going to try it again. Justice and I, we are closing out the program. We'll be back on Thursday evening. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Hope the broadcast was constructive, and we will be back to hopefully replace white supremacy with justice immediately. Thank you.